Hello guys, and welcome to this tutorial on your SBA. So we are going to begin by looking into the the description and the information we were given on how to do the school-based assessment for this year. So we have about 6 steps to do, which is we start with the spreadsheet. Then we go over to database. Then we go to word processing, web design, problem solving, then programming. Okay, so just take note of the key steps that we are going to do. And so let's go. So we start. So this will be the introduction, and I'll try as much as I can to see if I can split each of the section so that it will be easier for you to navigate through. Okay, so we start. Now we were introduced to Chalimont Hotel and Spa, a 4-star hotel which has 20 rooms and was recently built on the north coast of the country. It is located at Ochorio, Santan. Just take note of the address, which is the heart of the tourist community. Now, as the system administrator, you are required to use the necessary applications to keep records of the hotel's activities for the month of January 2025. The hotel offers 2 categories of rooms: garden view and ocean view, as well as 3 occupancies, which is single, double. Now below is the daily cost analysis of the hotel. Okay, now have this in mind. We are going to do something with this table. As you can see, the table is being described here. So you have a table made up of 3 columns and 4 rows, okay, which displays the occupancy type, ocean view, garden view, the amount, and single, double, or family type of occupancy. So first of all, we are going to create a spreadsheet called Chalimont. So in order for us to do that, I am going to do something now. In order for us to do that, we go and do it afresh. So for you to do that, you start first by looking for this icon here. You see this icon here? Yes. This is called the start. If you have a Windows 11, that is the start. That is where you start. So once you click start, you go here and you look for Excel, or you can just simply type Excel on the search bar. You go to the app and you click on open. Okay, now that you have clicked on open, so this is what you will see. It's called the welcome page of the Excel program. Here, some of you may have yours looking like this or others looking like this. Now, for us to start, we need to click on blank workbook. I click on the blank workbook, and there you go. So you click on the Windows action button to expand it. Now, this is it. And we begin. So a spreadsheet is made up of columns and rows, which is used to organize data. Okay. Now the column has what we call column letters. That is how you identify a column. Like you have here, you have A and so on. Let me see that. So here you have column A, column B, column C, column D. You also have the rows, okay? The rows, row 1 and 2. Now, this is called a cell. You see this rectangular selected space that has a green border around it. So the green means that this cell is selected, and the cell is called, or we just say is the intersection of columns and rows in a spreadsheet. Have that in mind. I'll try as much as I can to see if I can add text to most of these things and explain them. Okay, so a cell is the intersection between a column and the row. Okay, just have that in mind. Now, over here, this is your ribbon. Or here, these are your ribbon which you use to work with the data on the spreadsheet. So this is your sheet here, and if you move down, you will see it as a sheet. And if you go up over here, it is called a book. Now, a workbook is made up of several working sheets. Okay, it could be one sheet, it could be several other sheets that makes up a workbook. So when by default, when you open Excel, it gives you one workbook by default, which you can now create more sheets and different sheets inside. Okay, so like you have on the home tab on the ribbon, you have various actions to work and format the data you are working with. Like this is editing the cells, working with the cells, insert, delete, format. You have the styling, like changing color of each cell in the table. Then you have wrap text. This has to do with how data text is aligned on the cells. Then this has to do with the font, the appearance of the characters in each of the cells. Okay, while this has to do with copy paste cut, where you copy from one cell to the other, and so on. You also have insert. You can create tables with this. You can change each of these cells or group of cells to tables. You can insert images, smart models, chart, and all that. We will come to this part, but I'm just trying to show you but a few. You also have a page layout and so on. That will be, we just work with what we need, like the data. We work with this one and so forth. Okay, so let's get back to business. So now we are asked to create what were we asked to create again? Let me see. So why that keeps coming up. So we're asked to create something, and we're asked to create it's a child amount. Okay. Let me see if I can increase it a bit so that you can see. Okay, so we are asked to create a spreadsheet called Chalemont. Okay, fine. We are going to rename this spreadsheet by simply clicking on the file. Now, this is what I want you to do. Once you create a file, it is better you save that so that you don't lose your work. Okay, so what we are going to do now, you can either use save or save as. So I'm going to use the first one, which is save. Since it's new, it's going to take me to save as. Then we have to go to the location. Okay, now this will show up in your screen. So you just click on browse, and you will see this dialog box. So this is called a save as dialog box. So this save as dialog box enables you to save document. So before you do that, I would like you to create a folder. Your interface may be different. So, but just create a folder where you will store your data. So I'm going to create a folder now. I click on create a folder. Now this, once you click on create folder, you will have something like this, which is called a new folder. And around the text will be highlighted. It means it is ready to work on. And if you notice that the cursor is blinking, which means I can delete that text by pressing the backspace button on the keyboard, and I could type in the name of the folder I want to create. So now I want to create a folder called AC, I'll use capital letters, AC Okamgba SBA 2026. Okay, so just do it like that so that you don't forget your work. I could just say ITSBA, IT ITSBA 2026. Now that I'm done typing that, I will just press open, and I click on open again. So now remember, we are asked to with, change that. We're asked to name it Parliament Hotel. Okay, so we go back here. Now we are going to do this, which is call it Charlemont Hotel. Shall we? It's not working. So here where you have the file name is where you rename the file. And if you notice the extension, which is type, it says .xlxs. That's for the Excel file extension. So here I'm going to say Charlemont Hotel. Okay. So now that I've done that, I will click on save. Now there's something I need to show you. I don't know why this is just repeating itself, because anytime I try to do a special key on my keyboard, it just comes up. Create this. Before we come to this part, let's just create this table because we are going to use it, and is what we are going to do. So this first sheet, I'm going to rename it. So what I did was to right click and select rename on the options. Okay, now that I've done that, I am going to rename that part. I'm going to press backspace to delete the name. You can see the cursor still blinking. It means that it's ready for typing. So I'm going to rename it rooms. Okay, and I press enter. Now that I'm done with that, I can exit. So you'll find that working, and this is going to be deleted. So that's it. Now that we have that, I am going to, okay, now that we've renamed the rooms, so I'm going to start somewhere here. You can use any point. So if you notice something, that whenever I select a cell, it has a reference on the cell reference. It has a reference here on the cell reference toolbar. So I'm going to do that by creating this. So I'm going to start from, let's say B. I just want to put it in the middle, not at the edge. So I'm going to start by typing occupancy. Please note the columns I am using and the rows. So know the reference of your cell, because you are going to be working with cell references all through the project. Right. Now, once you press tab on your keyboard, it moves the selection to another cell. And in this new cell, I'm going to type ocean view, the ocean. So if you press Shift and Tab, it returns back to the previous one. So I can do correction. Ocean is spelled Ocean view. Then you have garden view. Once you press Shift and Tab, no, once you press Tab, it goes to the next selection. Garden view. Okay. Now to go down to the next row, you can just press Enter, and it goes down to the next row. It starts from there. So I'm going to call this single. I press Enter to go down to the next row at the bottom. To be double. Press Enter again. Family, and so on. So I could move my cursor selection. Now, when you have this white plus, it means that you can select any cell. If you want to select multiple cells, all you need to do is click and drag. Click and drag means that click, you're still holding down the left button on the mouse. So you just click down and drag. So this is selecting multiple cells. But now we're just selecting a single cell, not that. Now there's something I need to show you. You see this small, this is called the fill handle. Okay, this square, green square at the end of the cell, the bottom right of the cell, it means that you can use it, this fill handle, you can use it to copy formatting in a cell to another cell. Okay, so just have that in mind. We'll get to that point. Now let's begin here. I think I remember it's 4,000. Yeah, $4,000. Here says it's $5,000, and this is $7,000. So we'll move over to the next cell here. Come on. I think my mouse moved too fast. So we have I think 3,500. Yep, 3,500. No, not 99. 3,500. And this cell here we have 4,000. Here we have 5,000. Okay, now that we have been able to do this simple what do you call it, this simple, I don't know why this thing is coming up. It give me a moment. Got that. Took it here. Okay, so we need to expand this cell. So all I need to do is just come in between. Okay, so now if you notice that your cell, you can't find the other, or your text are cutting off on any cell, all you need to do is expand the column of that cell so that you can get the value or the labels in that cell. Okay, so for instance, you have this. All you need to do is click and expand in between the column B and C, or in between the columns that you need to adjust. Just once you hover your mouse in between the columns, you will notice that the cursor look like this. So once you have the cursor looking like that, it means you can expand. All you need to do is click and drag sideways to the right. Now, there are other ways to make it so fast and easy. all you need to do is click and expand. So the next part, you can just say, you double click and it opens that part. In between the columns that need expanding, you just click, double click on it, and automatically you have that. So that's easy enough. Now, the next thing you need to do is we need to format this so we clearly define our cells and labels properly. Sorry, excuse me. So now we are going to format it and make sure it's looking nice. So we are going to select this here and it's going to be bold. Then we can select all the text and we can add borders to it by simply clicking on the border tool. Once you see this symbol icon here, it means it's a border line tool. So what we need to do is click the arrow by the side and we'll have a whole heap of options to choose from. So just select all borders and you're good to go. So now one thing I need you to do is to convert this to a table. So all we need to do is select this and you go to insert and you click on table. If you notice here, you will have a reference. Now this reference is to guide you on how the table is being formatted. Now, does your table have headers? Yes, my table has headers. So make sure this is checked so that it knows the tables. Okay, that's it. Now we have gotten our table, and the next thing we need to do is just make our table plain and simple because we don't want too much style. So we just make it plain and simple at most. Okay, no light, no color, just a simple table. Yeah, this is good. Okay, we are not doing anything fancy for now. At your own pace, if you want to choose fancy tables, fine, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that we have gotten a table, and remember it is called rooms, so the next thing we need to do is to create a new sheet by simply clicking on the plus button here to create a new sheet. So this new sheet, we are going to do some additional work with it. So before you go any further, just click on File, Save. Now it saves your work. Okay, have that in mind to save your work on the go. Okay, so now let's see what the text has for us. So the text says we should create this and this and this and that. Let me see what we have to create. It's a create a spreadsheet called Chalamon with record of employee. Should be used to calculate the net pay. The minimum hours per worker for each week are 40. Okay, 40. So if each of the week are 40, and these are the columns that we will look at, and it says save worksheet as a payroll. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and this is what we are going to do. Let's start by creating the table in the spreadsheet. Okay, so we go back here and we start with the first one. I'm going to zoom in. So cell A1, I'm going to name it as Charlie. Mount Hotel and Spa. Okay, I am going to begin from cell 3. So under my cell 3, I'm going to type employee, capital letter, employee, PRN number, shift and 3 gives you the pound sign or the number sign. So if I press shift, I go to the next cell. Don't worry if you see the text like this. Don't worry, just keep typing. I will show you how to adjust that. So here will be called last name. Press tab again. Don't worry if the text cut off. Just keep doing the work. We can format that later. You have first name. You press tab again to the next cell. You have addresses. Address is double D. Address. Then you have category of workers. Let me just put it this way: category of workers. Then you press tab again, and you will have basic rate. Right. So now that you have basic rate, you press tab. You have hours worked. Let me be sure we are on that same page. Yep, we should be on that same page. This is hours worked overtime. Okay. So the next one will be press tab. It will be called overtime hours. Right? Okay. So this is what we are going to do right now. We're going to adjust the columns of each of these cells. So this one here, there's a format that I'm going to show you, and that is called the wrap text format. Here where you have the alignment, which is still under the home tab, just click on wrap text and voila, this is it. It wraps the text in a cell. Now for this one, we are only simply going to adjust the column. Click on the double click and it expands the column. That's the fastest way you can get it. This category, just click on wrap text and you get it. We need to adjust it a little because if you look here, it's taking up to 3 rows. So we adjust it a little so that we can have 2 rows, and we come in between 3 and 4 and double click. Yep, there you go. Same thing with this one. You just wrap text. Work hours, you wrap text. And overtime hours wrap text. Double click to make sure that the cells are in order. Okay, now that we have that, all we need to do next is come over here and select the cells, format it and make it bold. And we could do the adjustment again. Nope, that will be undo. Control Z to undo. We just adjust it a little. Yep. So HRM and this. And we double click this. Yep. So we adjust all that and adjust this a little. Okay. So now that we have all that, the next thing is to fill in data. Based on this, we need to create this sheet. So before we do that, let's see if we can populate data for this. Let's have a data for those and see what we have there. From here, it says do this and save it as a payroll. Okay, so what we are going to do, let's fill in the data for this one. Then we can come and create this before we save that sheet as a payroll. Okay, now let's go and do that. So for time's sake, I will just go and copy some data that I already have, and I will bring it and paste it back here so that we can be fast with that, because typing this data one after the other it takes a lot of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy some data that I already have and paste it in here. So give me a moment. Okay, so I have copied some data that I was working on, and I've brought it forward here. And yes, if you look closely, I have data. There's about 20 workers, because if you look at the SBA we have here, we have 20 rooms. And if you look at the number of workers, this will sum up to 20 member of staff. Okay, so we are going to create this table at the other point in time. So this is what I'm going to do right now. We move here. Let's see. There's something happening here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that we are going to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in that case, we are going to put that table here. Okay. So you see this table thing? We're going to put it here. Okay. Just have that in mind while we do that now. So I'm going to zoom in there on that column P. I'm going to type I could just say here, I could just say basic rates. Then I come under here and I type NO workers, press tab as usual, categories, workers, press tab to go to the next for basic rate. Okay, so basic rate here we have let me expand it a little. Expand it. Just as we learned the other time, we just expand it. So here we have receptionist. Press enter. You have housekeepers. Then we have press enter. What else do we have here? We have here kitchen staff, security guard, and supervisor. Okay, so here we have kitchen staff. The kitchen staff. Kitchen staff. kitchen staff, security guard, and supervisor. Security guard, supervisor. Okay, so there you have it. And now we need to look at the number of staff. Receptionist is 3. Now this one is 5. Kitchen staff will be, I think, I'll be sure about that. 642. So it will be 6 here. Press enter. 4 and 2. Okay. So at the basic rate, 500, 400. We have 500, 400, 350. See what we got. 450, 600. So we have 450 percent 600. Okay, now we are going to do some basic formatting, and that's we need to do. Let's say, let's go here where you have rooms. Let me show you what that formatting is. Is changing the value to the actual type or data type it should be. So for instance, you have these are all money values, right? So all we need to do is to select those cells that we need to change to money values. So we can either change it here where you have the number tab, just click on the arrow by the general. You have currency or accounting. You also have comma, but in this case, we are not dealing with comma, we are just dealing with currency. So we just select currency. Now there's something I need to show you. Once you select currency, it changes and you have the dollar sign and the figures close by separated with commas also. Another thing you need to note is when you do accounting, the dollar sign moves far to the left. Okay, that we don't want that now. So what we need to do is just select accounting by clicking on the arrow by the side and select currency. Okay, remember to always save your work. Save, then you continue. Go back to the other sheet we are working on. This sheet now, we are going to change all this to currency. So I've selected them and I go to the general, click on the general, I click on currency. You notice the change, you can see the change there. Okay, so that's it. Now let's format this table. There's something I need to show you, and that is called margin center. I will show you how it works. Just simply select the cells that you want to merge and center. Select the first cell, click and drag to the number of cells you want to select, and you merge and center by simply coming to this button here called merge and center. Remember the icon of the merge and center is under the alignment tool options on the home tab. So you click merge and center, boom, there you have it. There you have it. So now that we have that, we can click on this and we can call it, we can add borders. Just add all the borders. Then I think these two should be made bold. Yeah. Okay. So that's it. Yes, we have that there. We have one table here and we have this here. So now that we have that, we need to do some calculations. Okay, so now that we have that, let's see what we have in the book. So we have that data. So we are going to create data for that. Before we move to section 2, we are going to save this as, let's add the data for basic rate. So basic rate will be calculated based on this here, the options here. So I'm going to put that code there. I'm going to put the code. I'm going to display it on the screen so that you will put it in this cell where you have F. So we are going to use a conditional function statement to do that. And we are going to use the if statement, or let's say nested if, because we are going to do a lot of ifs. So we start with if. I'm going to put out all the codes on the screen so that you know how it works. I'm going to say if, before you start any function or formula, start with the equal sign. Start with the equal sign. So say if E4 equal to if bracket E4 equal, come over here where you have equal Q4. So you put a comma and you get the value. Before you do that, press F4 to make it an absolute reference. So you put a comma, then you start another if again. Okay, so it goes like that. If E4 again equal to what do you call it? Q6 and comma will be R6. You press F4, then you comma it again. It's another if, open bracket, E4 equal Q7. Yes, you put comma. Now, if you notice there on the screen, it's showing you how the logic is done. So if you test the logic, then you give a value if it is true and a value if it is false. So that's why I'm having that comma and comma and comma, you know. So if it is false, do another if. So that's why I'm putting if before the next comma. So this type of if is called nested if. So now that we have a Q7, the next will be R7. I press F4 again to make it absolute. I put a comma because we are not there yet. And let's say another if bracket E4 equals to Q8. Put command say R8, press F4, make it absolute, and comma again to start another if. Bracket E4 equal to Q9, then R9, press F4, and you have that. Then since that should be the supervisor, R9 should be supervisor, so we don't have anything here. We can put a string value. A string value is used to return maybe text on the screen to say something. So I could just put shift and single quote on the keyboard, gives me double quote. Then I could now say, okay, wrong. I could just say wrong data. I would just say wrong, just to let me know that whatever I'm doing, I've hit the stop or the value is not there. So I will now close the bracket. So anytime you do nested or nested if, you just have to close each of the brackets. Have that in mind. So for instance, here, I think I did, give or take, 5 or 6 brackets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 brackets. So I'm going to close the bracket in 5 times. I press Shift and 0 to close the first bracket. So you see how the brackets are closing, and the brackets are color coded. Yes, I'm on the last one now. Each of the brackets are color coded. Once I'm done with that, I will press enter on the keyboard, and there you go. I have my value. So now that I have my value, if you look up here, you could see the code there, which I am going to display it later, run on the screen so that you see it and work with it. So I'm going to give you some time so that you can copy out the code. That is the code to get the basic rate on the cell. Okay, I believe you've copied that down and taken a screenshot of that so that you can work with that. And I'm going to press enter. Now that I have that, if you notice something, the $sign is not on the figures. All we need to do is to change that cell data type to currency. So we come over here. Once we select that cell, now we've selected the cell, then we come to general and we select currency. So now we have the figures there. So the next thing we're going to do is using the fill handle. Once we do the fill handle, we fill copy to several cells below, which means that we just want to copy the formatting of that cell and distribute it to other cells. In this case, we are distributing vertically down. Okay, so we just click and drag. Click and drag means that click while still holding down the click, you drag down your mouse button down to that of housekeepers. Okay, so here we have something and it says wrong. So let's see why it's wrong. So we click on this and it says kitchen staff wrong. Okay. Yes, okay. Now that it says wrong, it means that we failed to do something. So in here, we need to make this, the queues, we need to make them absolute so that it doesn't change whenever we copy down, it doesn't change. So we are going to make it absolute, absolute. So once you select it, you press and make sure it is absolute and absolute. Okay. Yes, there we go. So once you make a cell absolute, it means that the values don't change. So now this is the new code. Please, this is the new code. Copy that down. If you notice that each of the Q's have an absolute reference. So the dollar sign before the Q sign gives it absolute referencing. So just take note of that while we wait. I'll give you a few seconds so that you can copy that down. Okay, fine. Now, once you are done with that, we press enter and you select that first cell again. You copy down and see the result. Boom, there you go. So you have it now that it is there and everything is in place. Now it says hours worked. Based on our information here, each staff is supposed to have a minimum of 40 hours per week. Minimum of 40 hours per week. So because they have minimum of 40 hours per week, that means here all should be 40. So just type 40 on the first one and we just make it 40, fill and copy 40. So where we are going to have additional timing is on the overtime hours. Okay. So now you have to be descriptive to your, choice. So you could just add some random numbers. Some persons doing more than others. You could add 0, 2, 3, 7. Those who will add more hours. You know, 2. Now this data is you do it on your own. It could be anything that you choose to fill in there. So me, I'm just doing that. And now remember, not every staff needs to do overtime. Okay, not every staff, because we are going to do some calculation with that. So now that we have that, the next thing is let's see what we have there. So you have that there. So the work hours are there. I'll fill it out. So I purposefully fill in some with a 0 number. Okay. Yes, I purposely did that. Okay. So you have that there. Okay. Okay. So now that we have that, let's see what our book says. Our book says we have that there, we have that there, and we are going to call it payroll. Not bad. So we are going to call it payroll. Okay, fine. Now that we have that, we are going to name it payroll. We right click here, right click on the sheet here, right click, rename, I'll call it payroll. Press enter. Now that we've done that, the next thing we need to do is to duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate this and I will duplicate it and I will say move or copy. I click on move or copy. I select the last payroll there. I say move to the end, and I will check here and I say create copy. And I click on OK. So if you notice here, it says payroll in bracket 2. So we'll work with that. If you notice here, both are same, nothing much left. Okay. So we are going to work with payroll 2. Now I go back to the notice. We are going to insert this column, basic pay, that pay, that pay, that pay. Okay. We are going to do this. So this is what we are going to do. Call it, it we call payroll 2. Okay, fine. So now let's go and do that. We are going to add additional columns in there. And we are going to do that work now. Let's go. In here, we are asked to add the basic pay. Yeah, this will be called basic pay. This will be called basic pay. The next one will be called overtime pay. Overtime pay. The next one, just press tab to go to the next cell. We called gross pay. The next one will be called income tax. And the next one will be called bonus. Yeah, bonus. Okay. So this last cell here, we are going to call it health plan. Yeah, health plan. So we call it health plan. Yep. So health plan, and we are going to select all that and we'll give it 8 borders. So I select all this and make sure they have all borders. Okay. So now we are going to do some basic calculations. While I'm doing the formulas and functions for each of the calculations, I'm going to write all the codes on the screen. So for basic pay, the formula will be it's a equal, it's a basic pay times minimum hours work. Okay, basic rate times minimum hours work. So this shift and 8 gives you the asterisk sign. So 8 shift and 8 gives you asterisk sign. So the basic pay multiplied by minimum hours work. So it will be equal F4 minimum hours worked, which is F4 asterisk G4. G4. Now, some of you may want to use bracket, but I don't usually use bracket in this case because I am not doing more than one cell. So that's why I'm not using bracket for this instance. So in this case, I could just press enter, and there you go. There you have it. There you have it. So I will display the formula on the screen for the first one. So what I'm going to do, like I said, using the fill handle, I will just click and copy down, and there you go. I have value for data that I need. So I have all that value there. So the next one we are going to calculate is overtime pay. I think overtime should be basic rate times overtime hours worked times 1.5. That's the I think that's the code we were given. That's the calculation setup we were given. Yes, overtime pay is equal to basic rate times overtime hours worked times 1.5. So we go back and we do that. We're going to write out the codes here. So there we go. We have that. You start with your equal sign. Equal basic rate is do I get it? Basic rate is equal to F4 asterisk overtime hours is H4 asterisk 1.5. You may want to add bracket to separate all this. If you wish, you may want to do that, but I think it's just the same thing. It's just the same thing. It goes same way. So we can try that. If you wish, we can add a bracket just separating two. So this and this times 1.5. You press enter. It's the same thing. So it's just the same thing if you do all that. So because we are doing that. Now all we need to do is copy all this down. So we copy that down using the fill handle, and there we go. So if you notice, this is not giving us overtime pay because it is 0. They didn't do any overtime. Yes, I did this on purpose. Yours may be different. I did this on purpose because there are a lot of work we are going to do with that calculation. Okay, going by the book. Now, the next thing we are going to do is gross pay, which basic pay plus overtime. So here we are going to do that, which is basic pay plus overtime. We'll start with equal. There's the basic pay I4. I4 plus overtime, which is J4. You press enter. So you have it there, J4, and you feel copy down. And there you go. You have exactly what you need. You have exactly what you need there. That is your answer. I will try and make sure that I paste all these formulas for you. Then the next one will be income tax. What do we have income tax? Income tax is 15% of gross pay. So yeah, let's go. Is equal to gross pay, which is J4, no, K4 times 15%. 1.5 shift and 5 gives you percentage sign. Okay. So you press enter. There you go. That's your income tax. So you start scrolling down using the fill handle. You click and drag. Remember to use the fill handle, make sure your cursor changes to the black version of this, the black cross sign. And there you go. There you have it. You have all your income tax well labeled. Okay, now we are going to do the bonus. What do we have as a bonus? Bonus is 7% of gross pay. Mhm. Okay, fine. Let's work with that. 7% of gross pay. 7% of gross pay will be that. So we say, what do we do? Equal gross pay is K4 times 7%. Press enter. So there you go. There you have it. 7%. And there you go. Everything. Now let's look at the head plan. What do we have regarding head plan? It says all workers are covered by the inserted column. Yes, we've already inserted the column, which is 4% of their basic salary. Okay. 4%. So that's basic salary, basic pay, 4% of basic pay. So we go here and let's not basic pay is equal to basic pay is I4 times 4%. Press enter. So that's the head plan. So 4% of each of the head plan gives us what we are looking for. So that's it there. You have all that there. Now remember to save your work. Remember to save your work. Just click on File, Save. Click on File, Save, save your work. Okay. I will advise each of you, if you can, at most, make sure you get a flash drive to save your work, or you can save it in the cloud if you have access to internet. So why I recommend the flash, if some of you may not have access to internet yet, but if you do, you can save to your Google Drive. You can save your work in there and work. But flash would have been faster for you. You don't really need internet to save it. Okay. So now that we have gotten all this, all we need to do is to add some borders to all the text. So we just highlight all the text and add the borders. There you go. So we have all this data. And let's see what the text gave us to do. In a new sheet, we should add calculation page. Okay. So what we are going to do right now, we come here. We are going to right click on this. I click here. Name this as payroll 2. I'm going to call it payroll 2. Press enter. I'm going to add a new sheet. And I'm going to right click and rename this sheet calculations. Okay. Okay. Let's just name it like that. Okay. Now that's it. I'm going to name that calculations. I'm going to come here. Come on the B. Let me see what we have. Labels. Yeah, I think so. So we have labels and calculations. Okay. Let's just go and work there. There you go. So I'm going to here. I'm going to use here and do the work. So I'm going to type labels, labels. And here you're going to have calculations. So, yep, I expand it. So what are the labels? And number of employees, and it, number of employees, highest net pay. Do you have a net pay there? Let me check. Payroll to income, something is missing. Yes, we should have a net pay there. Calculate the net pay. Net pay wasn't added here, so we have another column to add net pay. Okay, so we are going to add the net pay, calculate the net pay of all workers. So this is going to be the net pay. Net pay will be after all deductions. Yes, so we go over here and we come here. Before we go back to the calculations, let's add the net pay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this column here and I'm going to add a net pay for it. So I'm going to type here, say net pay, enter. Should I give it a border? Yes. So net pay, and this is going to be the calculation. What are we deducting? Net pay should be gross pay plus bonus minus income tax plus health plan. Okay, now we are going to use several brackets for this. So what we are going to do, we start with this equal, which is gross pay, right? Uh, gross pay is K4, put a bracket, say K4 plus M4 bracket minus, open bracket again, income tax, which is L4 minus N4, close bracket, and you press enter. I'm going to leave that down because that is supposed to say gross pay plus bonus minus income tax plus health plan. Yeah, income tax is a minus, it's a plus. This should be plus, not minus. So this is the main code that will give us the net pay calculation. So once you press enter, there you have it. That will be your net pay. So we just drag that down as we normally do. And there you go. So we just add a border over it, select it all, and click on border tool, and you add the border. So here you go. There you go. Yes. Okay, fine. Now that we've gotten all that, the next thing we are going to do is, let me adjust the ratio again. Let me adjust my zoom ratio. Okay, this is reasonable enough. Yes, this is okay. Okay, so the zoom is reasonable now. Yes. Okay, fine. Now that I have that, what we need to do next is go back to our calculations. Go back to our calculations page here and continue with what we were doing. So let's see what we have here. Lowest health plan. So lowest health plan. Lowest health plan. Okay. Expand it to select it. Get all the borders and you make it bold. Okay. So now that we have that, let's do the first calculation. It says number of employee. Now this is how the code is going to be. You start by saying equal to count A, that's it there, count A. Then you move your mouse, you scroll down to payroll 2, and we are counting the number of employees, so we could count from, let's say, the first last name. We just select all the last name, click and drag starting from the first one. You select all the last name, you press enter. Now, if you go back to that cell, you'll see the formula there. Now, that's the formula. The function, sorry. That's the function to get the count A. I'm going to write it out on the screen with a text box so that you see it and you know what to do. And it will only work if you use this same method to do that. Okay. So the next point, we are going to do another one called highest net pay. Same thing here, but rather we are going to use a function called max. So max is going to calculate the highest number amongst others, or the maximum highest number. So I'm going to say max, open bracket, we move down to payroll, sheet to payroll 2, highest net pay, right? So we select all the net pays and you press enter. And there you have it. There you have it. So all you need to do is come back, select that cell and change it to currency. And you have your currency formatting. Now the lowest head plan will be, we will use minimum, the function called minimum. So you start with the equal sign, you have the MIN, that's for minimum. You go back to payroll, come to head plan here, select the head plans, select all head plans, you press enter, then there you go, that is the minimum head. Now, mind you, the data are not the same. You as a student, you must produce your own data. That means you have to make up your data. Don't use my data and don't use anyone else's data. That will be copying. So just use your own data so you get a different figure at the end of the day. Okay, so you just format it. There you go. So this becomes our labels sheet, our calculation sheet. So there we go. We've done that. So what have we done so far? We have rooms, We have payroll, we have payroll 2, we have calculation, and our jobs are getting neater and cleaner, and we are almost getting towards the end of it. So let's say the tax that was given to us, since we have payroll 2 here, yes, we have payroll 2 here, and let's see what was given to us here. I don't think we are doing anything more here. Just save as payroll 2. We already have our payroll 2. Then the third one we are going to do is payroll 3. So in this case, we are going to do a payroll 3, which is we are going to perform some extra calculations. So what do we do? First of all, let's go and create a payroll 3. So right click on this one now. Right click on the payroll 2 sheet. Right click and say move or copy. You go to we could go move it to the end, check create copy, and click on OK. So we have this here. So all we need to do, we just come here, rename it to payroll 3. Just rename it to payroll 3. Don't bother. Just rename it to payroll 3. So now that we have that there, so all we need to do is do some adjustment and everything works fine. Here it says the basic rate has been increased from 400 to 450. So we have increased from 400 to 450. We go back here and housekeepers, we just type in 450. Yeah, remember you are working payroll 3. Please remember what the sheet you're working on. 450. Now, if you notice that as soon as we created that, all the figures for housekeepers changed immediately. Okay, I would like to do that again. I'll press Ctrl Z to undo. Now see when I change this to 450, you notice the figures has changed automatically. So that's how it is. Now that we have changed that, let's see what the instruction says. Number 2, bonus plan for employees has been adjusted if gross pay is less than $15,000. $15,000. Okay. So we'll just put that there, even though it will not make any change much, but we'll just leave the code in there because that will also be used to judge our work at the end of the day when it is being marked. So let's just put that there. Let's just put this there and see what we get. If gross pay bonus plan for employees has been adjusted, if gross pay is less than $15,000. Okay, it will be calculated 8% of gross pay. So let's just go back and do some adjustment on the bonus. Here's the bonus. So here now we are going to change the code. Okay, and if you look at something here, as you're changing the code, this is how it will look like. It will be if let me see that again. If gross pay is 15%, less than 15,000. If gross pay is less than 15,000, if open bracket gross pay is K4, K4, K4 is less than 15,000, then bonus will be then bonus will be 7% of gross pay, which is gross pay times 7%, and gross pay is K. It will be K4 times, which is multiplied asterisk 7%. Then you close the bracket. And once you do that, it says false. Why is it false? Mhm. Okay, yes, we have to put an equal sign here, equal to 15,000. Less than or equal to, K4 is less than or equal to 8%. Okay, fine. Yes. If it's that, then the next one will add additional comma. It will now be K4 asterisk 7%. And you press enter. So yeah, there you go. There you have it. There you click and you scroll down to the end so that all this code, all the bonus should have that this code. Because if you look at the formula bar, the codes is there. Now you'll be judged based on that code. That is how your SBAs will be marked, based on the Excel formula and function you use. Okay. Okay. So now that we've gotten that formula there, let's see what the instruction says. We've gotten so it says sort the spreadsheet by name and net pay in ascending order. Now that we've done that, let's go and do some sorting. So for us to do some sorting, we need to select this as a table. So I'm going to select all this and I'm going to turn it into a table. I just click on insert, turn it into a table. I say, yes, my table has headers and I don't want it colored. No banding. And yes, I have a header row. Okay. Do I need a filter button? No, I don't need a filter button. So it should be okay. And I want it plain. Okay. I just want it plain. So yes, I've created a table right here. So, and the next thing I'm going to do is that I am going to sort this table out. So I'm going to select this table. So I just press Ctrl A. As I select the table, I press Ctrl A, and I am going to go to data, and I will click on sort, because based here it says sorted by name and ascending order. So I'm going to sort it by last name and ascending order, last name and net pay in ascending order. So I'm going to click on the sort button. Now we have this dialog box here. This dialog box I'm going to show you here. The first stage is to sort by last name on the cell values, yes. A to Z, yes. That's ascending order, right? Let me see. Ascending order, yes. So now we are going to add an additional level. Now that we add additional level, we are going to sort it by, you click on this arrow, you drag down, you see net pay. Now that you have net pay, small to largest means ascending order. So you click on OK. Once you're done, you click on OK. Voila, everything has been sorted out. Everything has been sorted out. As you can see, all the data has been sorted in ascending order. Like you see here, yeah, that has been sorted out with the first. Okay. Then the next thing we are going to do is we are going to check the data and see what it tells us, the instruction. Create a pivot table that lists the names and net pay of each employee. That we are going to do now. So we are creating a pivot table. So first we select this table and press Ctrl A, or you can just click and drag down to this cell. So select this table, and we are going to do a pivot table by simply clicking on the Insert tab, and we say Pivot Table. You click it. We are going to create our pivot table in a new sheet. Okay, so we are selecting that and we click OK. Now that we have the pivot table there, we are going to select the first thing there to select is the name and what's it called again? Net pay. We have net pay. We select that. Net pay. Can you see that there? Yes. Let me zoom in so that you can see the work there. So this is what we have done so far. Net pay. And we selected net pay. And yes, that's what we selected. Net pay and all that. So all we need to do is these row labels, we can just change the label filter and we just rename it to last name, press enter. So last name, press enter. So we are going to call it pivot table. We right click here and rename this to pivot table. There we go. We have created our pivot table. And there we go. We have our pivot table page. So we have we can just drag it to the next page. There. So we have it there. We have it there. We have this data. We have our pivot page table. So let's see what is the next action plan. Is there something we are missing? I think there's something we are missing. We missed this part where we need to insert a row that will measure all the currency field and do extraction. Okay, so what we are going to do, we need to do it double. So let's do that. Let's do that here in payroll tool. Here We are going to do the sum. So click on sum of all the currency. So I can just say here, total. Just say total. And here we can just type in a formula. I'll put in the formula for you. Equal sum equal the sum. I like using the capital letter sum. Because this table here equals sum. I'm going to select all the basic pay. Sum of all the basic pay. Press enter. Now we have the total of that sum. So I just click on the fill handle and copy it and distribute. Now there's something I need to show you. Whenever you have this type of sign, pound sign all over, all you need to do is to adjust the width of the column and it will be sorted out. Just watch what I'm going to do. As I adjust it, there you go. There you go. You see, it starts showing up. So once you see the pound sign, it doesn't mean there's an error. It means that the numbers won't fit the column. So expand the column. It means that you need to expand the column so that you can see the numbers, the figures. So here I do the same thing. I select it all and I go to formatting. I could just make it bold and all that. So we are asked to do something. Select this table here. I'm going to select this and turn it into a table. Just insert table here. Create the table. No. Yes, I have a header, but I don't have a filter. Make it simple. No banded rows. Yes, so I have this table here. I can easily select them together. So now that I have the table and the action said we should use complex criteria to extract all employees who work for more than 40 hours. So I'm going to do that now. And now that I've selected it, I will go to data and I will use complex criteria. I click on, now see what I'm doing. See what I'm doing. First of all, select this entire table. Then I click on advanced on the data tab where you have sort and filter. Click on advanced and I have this table here. It says copy to another location. I'm going to check that and I'll click on this arrow. Now, once I click on this arrow, it is going to give me an option for me to click inside the worksheet again. So I'm going to use 27. You can use 27 or 28. I'm going to use that point as where I want. Then I'll come back to this, click on the arrow, and I will click cancel. Let me do it again. First of all, we click here, we select this, then we click on advanced on sort and filter tab, sort and filter under the data tab. Then you have this, you click on copy to another location. You click on the arrow where you have copy to. You come down here, you can select any number between row 27 and 28. I'm going to choose 27. Click back on the arrow. Then you click OK. And there you go. Now you have all the table down there. So I'm going to just, select the table again. Just say this, Control A. That means all the table here has been selected. Now that I've done that, the next thing I need to do is to sort it out based on the instruction we are given. Another selection, sort out those who have worked more than 40. So I'm going to do a filter to extract the data. So this filter now, I'm going to here, click select this, and I will add filter. Now that I've added filter, this is how it looks like. See how it looks like? And it says filter out those who have worked for more than 40 hours. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at overtime. And yeah, I'll click on the overtime. And I'm going to unselect 0. Yes, every other one remains, meaning that they work more than 40 hours. So as you can see on this table here, that all these workers here work overtime. Okay, all these workers work overtime. So make sure you save your work by clicking on File, Save Work. Then we go back to payroll 3, and we need to add the total sum of our numbers. There you go. Here you go. Here we can go back. And add them accordingly. Okay. So now that we have that, I will go home and wrap this text. Yes. I'll go back here, wrap this text. Yes. Go back and adjust and wrap the text. Okay, fine. The work is looking very good now. Just want to make sure that we have everything neat and fair. Adjust it. Okay. Okay. Now that we have that, let's do our totals again. This time, I'm going to do totals. Here, I'm going to put the equal sum, like using capitals, equal sum is to this point here, and I press enter. All I need to do is adjust the column of that width of the, yes, then copy this to this point and adjust all the columns. Okay, now that we have that, I'll make it bold again and put out the borders. Okay, so that's for payroll 3. Then you click on File, Save. So we have all the calculations. We have the data sorted out here. Yes, we have all that sorted out. Then we can do merge and center here. All the way to this point, make it bold. Then click on merge and center. So you can do the same thing for this. Make it bold. Click on merge, We don't need to put that there. Just click on margin center. And there you go. So we have that there. And it's looking good. So let's see what the instruction says. Now that we have that, create a bar chart. It says create a bar chart. Bar chart column. Okay, we are going to create a chart now. To do this, we've created pivot table, create a bar chart for who would be paid of income tax, which will be paid by kitchen staff. Okay, so let's do that now and label it save income tax in a new sheet. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do this. So now we are asked to create kitchen staff and income tax and label appropriately. So let's go and do that. So here we go. We have to select let's select this column. Here we go. We select the last name and I press Control and I select income tax. Now I go to Insert and I select the bar chart and I select the column chart. So now that I have done that, so the next thing is to filter out the data so that we know who and who is the kitchen staff. So I'm going to unselect all of them and select only those who are actually kitchen staff. For this one is a kitchen staff, that one is a kitchen staff. So I'm just selecting only the kitchen staff. This is a kitchen staff. This is a kitchen staff. And here you go. Kitchen staff. So I have all my kitchen staff. Now I will just select apply. And there you go. I have 6 kitchen staff. Now that I've done this, all I need to do is go back to home and I will click on the cut, which is Control X. I click on the cut and I cut it out. And I press on the plus button here to add a new sheet. And this sheet here, I come over here, select one of this, and I click on paste and adjust it using the nodes. Now that I've adjusted it using the node, I could change the text by simply editing it. So here, I'll need to add some axis titles. So I add some axis titles and maybe some data labels if needed. If I want to, just put it there, some data labels. So here we are asked to name it to kitchen staff income tax. So label it properly. Come here, say kitchen staff income tax. So put here, there will be last name, and here will be called income tax. So that's it. You see, that's it. This is how it is supposed to look like. You can choose any design style for the you can choose any design style for the chart. Here you can come with this, with that, with that, any which one. But I just prefer it simple like this. Okay. If you want to make it bolder and bigger, choice is yours. So I just, this is okay for me. So it's okay for me. And all I need to do now is come back here and rename this by right clicking, rename, and I just need income tax. Capital letter, income tax chart. There you go. So you have it. And that will be the end of the spreadsheet. The next one we are doing will be database. That will be the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye. See you in the next class.